Hello and welcome to the Dave Show. I'm your host, Dave, as always. I've got my co-host, Chris Donato, with me here. We got a big show today. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. Make sure to stay right to the very end where I give you my final thoughts on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, but let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into it. Hey everyone, welcome to the Dave Show. This is the show where we talk about current events, politics, real estate, cryptocurrency, and how it affects you as an investor. If you like what you see today, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified. We drop 2 new videos every single week. We go live once a week. That way you won't miss out on anything. Yeah, so as you guessed it, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin today, right? Bitcoin is all over the place. Everyone's talking about it. It's just so hot. So Christian and I are going to talk about it, obviously, because it is the thing that is on everyone's mind. So Bitcoin took a major drop this week. I know my Bitcoin portfolio, my wallet got hurt. I don't know about you, Christian.
I'm a market whiz, so I decided to invest on the exact day everything took a dive. I bought at, I believe, $65,000 Canadian. By the end of the day, it was down to 58, and it just barely recovered over a week later today. So I'm now sitting, I'm breaking even right now.
Well, okay. But, okay, so, and let's talk about that, because people are going to think, well, okay, that scares me. I never want to get into it, because what if I'm buying when it's at the high and it's going to drop in a week from now? So, would you say that you are a retail investor? Would you say that you're just going to kind of go in, go out? Or are you actually looking for long-term out of Bitcoin? Or cryptocurrency? I shouldn't just say Bitcoin, cryptocurrency.
I'm looking at long-term. I invested in 3 coins so far, 3 different cryptocurrencies.
Dogecoin, right?
Absolutely not. No, I have one Cosmos, I have another Stellar, and then Bitcoin, obviously, because that's the player that everyone wants to, buy into.
Yes.
It's the big boy on the block where you can make the most money. But basically, I'm hedging my bets against Bitcoin by buying Stellar, because Stellar is trying to reach out to world governments and create cryptocurrencies for them and work with world banks, and they're trying to make it more accessible for people in developing countries. So by having basically how Stellar works is you put money in, and it's like an exchange rate. You put your money in, and then exchanges for Stellar coins.
Okay.
And then instantly transfers it to whoever you want to go to into their currency. Basically, it goes like wire transfer, the 5-day waiting limit when you use banks, and it goes right through Stellar. So they're trying to do a lot. They were also the guys who, few people working on that project were people who left Ripple, in 2014.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I thought Ripple was the currency that was trying to be like the currency for all of it, or type thing.
They were, but the SEC got involved, and now they're having a lot of troubles. But that's why I believe in, I'm kind of biased. Obviously, I have some skin in the game now, but I believe that Stellar is working really hard to make it accessible to everyone, and they have an actual mission statement, so that's why I'm into them.
You know that when someone has a mission statement, it must be real, right?
Yes, that's legit.
And I'm joking about that because I remember getting on, having interviews, and at the fire department, I had to learn the mission statement.
At a fire department, is it to put out fires?
I guess it makes you a better candidate if you can regurgitate back the mission statement. But anyway, so I'm interested that you're in other cryptocurrencies. Part of me wants to, but I'm just like, Dave, you're already so deep in real estate. You're already doing the crypto. I don't know if I can give more time, but I like hearing what you're doing because it keeps me in the loop on stuff like that. But let me know when you end up buying that Dogecoin. But an interesting fact or an interesting statistic, and I've kind of got my sheet here in front of me, and I think you've got some more stuff we'll go through, but the appreciation on, is it Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in total? I think it's Bitcoin, right?
Bitcoin in particular.
Yeah. 200% faster. The appreciation on Bitcoin is 200% faster than the USD. I don't even know what to say to that. That is just, it's huge. It's incredible. Even 50% faster would be miraculous, right? To be 200% faster appreciation on USD. Now, okay, and people will say, well, and I've had this discussion with other people, so let me know what your thoughts are on this. They'll say, well, Dave, USD is not the highest currency, right? You look at the pound and all the other currencies. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on that, but the world is based off the USD, right? That's like the standard for the entire world. So the fact that it is appreciating that much quicker is just mind-blowing. I don't know.
It is mind-blowing, but I find it worrying, almost. Like, it could be like a fantastic thing, and it could be just showing how fantastic Bitcoin is, but also, when I see things rise that quick, when I see things gain so much value so fast, I'm worried it's a bubble. There's so many, like, examples of things that just shot up super fast. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm so happy I invested in this, and then it ends up dying a horrible death because of how overvalued it was.
Okay, and I'm not going to pretend to know the person's name right off the hop, but last name Anderson, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And in 98, I think it was 97, 98. So Anderson had done the IPO for his company. Then I think it was like Netscape Communications. Again, don't quote me on this. And as soon as he did that, boom! That's when the .com boom happened, right? So very exciting stuff. And why I'm saying this is because you're mentioning right now is it a boom? And recently he's now done the exact same thing. The same guy that did the .com boom has done the same thing with, I think it's Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Again, don't quote me on that. So they're predicting now that history repeats itself. It's gonna launch like crazy. So I'm excited to see that.
I'm excited to see it too, but it doesn't really bode well when has anyone used Netscape in the past decade and a half? Have you?
No.
No. And that's because the dot-com bubble of like the early 2000s, everything went down. So it doesn't really bode well when the guy who's in charge of that now is taking the other one, like...
Public, yeah, public.
It's like getting the guy who ran Enron to do another energy company because he did so well last time. The prices went so high and he did such a good job. Like, no, it's failed once. I don't trust this person to do it again.
Yes, and I agree with that sense. Do I believe that they're going to manage it well and all that? No, I'm looking at more as a Bitcoin holder. I'm thinking this player is going to get into this market, is going to have an IPO, and it's going to skyrocket the Bitcoin price. Now, what did I hear someone say over the weekend or during this week? They said something that you should always have a plan, right? If you're not going to be a buy and hold Bitcoin person forever, you should have an exit strategy at some point. Because there's always going to be the bull markets. Everyone knows this. I'm not reinventing the wheel. And the bear markets. And if you can't, pun here, bear the bear markets, then you should have some sort of exit strategy or a plan to take your money out for the time being and maybe put it back in when it starts getting bullish. Okay, so let's take this for example. If we know this person, I think it was Anderson, the last name.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Maybe we can put it in the notes below or something, show notes. But if we know that this person's going to get in and it's going to skyrocket and it might come off at some point, okay, as a Bitcoin holder, I'm excited, but then I know that, hey, I have to be strategic, I have to be smart, I have to know when to pull that money out or at least put it aside because it's going to crash at some point. So I don't know. I still see it as a positive. Am I saying it's the best thing for Bitcoin long term? Possibly not, but hey, does my wallet go up on Bitcoin? Short term, relatively short term?
Absolutely. If you invested in Enron at the right time, you would have made a lot of money. That's the thing. You just gotta. It's hard to know when to pull out, or if this will be successful in the long run.
Yeah.
Will it continue to be? I have a feeling, not 100%. I don't know much, obviously, but I have a feeling that Bitcoin will just be the first big one, not the end-all, be-all of cryptocurrency. But people will look back in 30 years, and be like, "Remember when Bitcoin was huge? That was crazy." But now we have this other coin that we all invest with. No one really uses Bitcoin anymore. It's old hat.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is going to be a terrible example, but what was like the first Nintendo or whatever? Like what was it called, Atari?
Yes, the Atari.
So, and this is a terrible example, but let's just think the Atari comes out, and now you would never use an Atari because you're using whatever in the heck the kids are using, but that does happen, right? Whatever came out first isn't necessarily what's going to be around. No, I like that, and I do agree with you. And I'm just thinking some different things. I listened to something this morning that was just incredible. And what did they say? And I'm not going to quote the person because I'm going to butcher it, but they basically said that cryptocurrency has no top because fiat money has no bottom. And I was it kind of caught me off guard. I was trying to think about it. Yeah, it has no bottom because they'll never stop printing, right? And I think the currency, like let's say the USD, I think it's been around for 200 years. I'm not sure. And again, don't quote us on any of this info. I'm not a historian. I got 50 something in 51 in geography and 50 something in history in high school. So don't take that to the bank. But what I'm getting at is fiat money has always failed. And I think there's something where they say it typically has a shelf life of 27 years. So the fact that it's been around for this long, it doesn't bode well. And the fact that cryptocurrency has come along is really starting to poke the holes in the bag of the fiat currency. Now, what I'm getting at here, and I've got it written down here, and Christian and I had kind of talked about it off air, was Elon Musk, or CEOs in general. What do they typically do? They'll have the company will have a cash influx. They're doing well, and then what they typically do is they take that money, they buy back their stock, it inflates their stock, their shareholders, the board members, everyone is happy, right? That's typically the cycle that happens, and that makes the merry-go-round go round and round. But Elon Musk and some of the other CEOs now are kind of sticking it to the Federal Reserve because they're not doing that. So what they're doing is, and that's kind of what I had here is that I want to talk about, is the fact that they took that money, like 1%, 3%, some companies are doing 5 or 10%, they're taking that money and throwing it into cryptocurrency, is they're almost saying, I don't believe in the Fed anymore. I don't believe in the dollar. So I'm not going to put it back into something that is backed by the Fed, backed by the dollar, like their own stocks, because they don't trust it anymore and it's not worth it. So they're taking that trust and they're now putting it into cryptocurrency. So everyone is saying that was literally Elon Musk kind of giving a slap in the face to the Fed, saying that I don't trust your fiat money anymore.
Actually, I have a quote right here from Elon Musk just a week ago on Twitter. He tweeted, let's see, Elon even made a tweet. When fiat currency has negative real interest, only a fool wouldn't look elsewhere. Bitcoin is almost as BS as fiat money. The key word is almost. So he's saying straight up that he does not want to deal with fiat currency anymore. He doesn't believe that fiat currency is any better than Bitcoin. And he thinks both of them are BS, but at least one is a little bit more, has more longevity than the other.
That's hilarious. Okay, so, and I do agree with him. So he's saying both are BS, but one is a lesser evil of the both.
Right.
And if I've got 1.5 bill to dump or to kind of put in a safe haven, I'm going to put it in the most secure out of the two of them. No, that's very interesting. And just that alone, and like I'm thinking, was it this week? Goldman Sachs released a 106-page report on cryptocurrency. And I guess back in 2018, they had started to kind of get things rolling, get the ball rolling. There you go, get the ball rolling, get things rolling. And then there was some retraction in the market, and they had kind of set up or closed up shop. Might have been 2017, might have been 2018, but they had some sort of division that was going to start doing it, and then kind of interest went elsewhere and they stopped. But now the fact that this week they've put out a 106-page report with Goldman Sachs, like that's one of the most mainstream American banks you can get, and the fact that they're talking about it, once those corporations do the buy-in, it's just going to be an incredible roller coaster, literally, for Bitcoin, and it's going to be an uproar. Well, there's still going to be downs, but it's going to start really going up. I don't know. Very cool to see. I can't wait to see what Goldman Sachs ends up doing with that.
Yeah, I believe you sent me a video last week of someone talking about how all of these private industries are going to start investing in Bitcoin, and I don't know, that seems kind of, again, like,
yeah,
'cause I really don't trust large corporations to do it right. I'm kind of scared of all these large, like, it would be great for our wallets here, but in the long run, what does this mean? Are they gonna?
Well, and that's what they said, and I think it was, and again, Kathy Wood. I've been listening more and more to everything Bitcoin, and Kathy Wood seems to be a go-to. There's another Max guy as well, and they keep just saying that a lot of these, like you're saying, Christian, these big companies, the CEOs and the boards are wanting to put 1%, 5%, 10% of their bottom line or of their what they have on their books into cryptocurrency because they feel as though it's going to be safer and that it is, again, they're hedging against the actual fiat money. Interesting enough, actually, and I meant to write this down earlier, Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank guy, he was against Bitcoin, and now he's actually for it. He's come around, so that was very interesting to actually see that as well. I kind of laughed. I chuckled to myself when I saw Kevin O'Leary was coming around to Bitcoin. I listened to his interview and I was like, anyway, even he's coming around now.
It would, because when Bitcoin first started out, it was only just normal everyday people who were buying into it. So it was just treated like a normal currency where no one had more power. But when places like Tesla get into it, and I believe like Blackwater was getting into it, or another exchange. And if giant companies start getting into this, they have so much power in the cryptocurrency world that if they decide to dump all of their Bitcoin, sell it all off, it can really affect the market. So I feel like especially with Tesla, we had talked about this on a live show, but Tesla now has the power to dump 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin if they so choose. And if they decide that they want to devalue Bitcoin or start their own, they can do it. It would affect the markets by an insane amount. That's a lot of money they can just dump.
Okay, let's go down that rabbit hole then, because you and I had talked about it in other shows and off the air. So, and there was one, I shouldn't say conspiracy theory, but there was one theory that did Elon Musk, and I think you brought this to my attention, right? Did he just buy, did Tesla just buy this in the greater scheme of things plan, where they bought Bitcoin and then they valuated it up, and maybe they have the thoughts in the back of their mind that they're going to create a Tesla coin or whatever cryptocurrency they're going to create, and then Elon Musk says, I'm out, right? Yeah, I think that's the kind of way I talked about it. And he says, all of a sudden, oh, this isn't as good as I thought it was. Boom, dumps his 1.5 bill. It hurts Bitcoin.
You can even see from the quote he made about the US dollar and fiat money.
Can I see those?
Yeah, it's right here. The quote, he was calling fiat currency less BS than Bitcoin, but he's still he's throwing Bitcoin under the bus while he's doing it. I feel like he's just here to kind of do, this is really, put your conspiracy theory hat on.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's here trying to devalue it, because it looks like he bought into it. He can't devalue it without buying into it first, but he bought 1.5 billion. That's a huge market share.
It's a huge market share.
I think that can affect. It did affect. It went up by 10%. If he
that same day, everyone's went up 10%.
Yeah, and if he decides to get rid of the 1.5 billion, no more now. He's definitely made money on it. He decides to get rid of all that Bitcoin. It'll devalue it by probably more than 10% because everyone's watching him now to see what to do with their cryptocurrency. So because every time he mentions Dogecoin on his Twitter, that rises up too. People have made money off of Dogecoin just because Elon Musk wants to tweet about it.
Is he being sarcastic when he tweets about it?
Yeah, probably. He calls it the coin of the people, so I feel like he's just taking a jab at all the Reddit investors and everything and the day traders or whatever, but he has all this power. And I really do think he's just trying to destabilize not only the US currency or the world currencies fiat money that we use, but also Bitcoin. Because why wouldn't he get involved in this? Why would he not want to be involved in cryptocurrency? He's a tech guy. You created PayPal. Why would he not want to devalue it and make his own?
I agree, and he's a very calculated person. There's no way he's just... he's made $500 million, which is huge, right? Which kind of competes with what he's made in Tesla, what he's made in SpaceX. But he's very calculated. I believe you're right. There's no way he's just doing this to park his money. He's doing it, okay, let's go down the rabbit hole, to maybe devaluate the fiat money and devaluate Bitcoin, and eventually... I totally see him doing a Tesla coin, whatever crypto, an Elon Musk coin, some sort of cryptocurrency, and then dumping Bitcoin, which is going to hurt it, and then going over to the other one. And something you had mentioned too, Christian, is he can't really knock it if he hasn't tried it. But now that he's in for 1.5 bill, he made some money, win-win. And now if he pulls out, people can't say that, hey, you did this on purpose. It just looks like, hey, I tried it, didn't make sense to me. I decided to create my own and brought it there.
Yeah, I figured I could do it better. Like, if you
Which he probably could.
Honestly, you probably could. I just don't trust... Because he has... he's only really held accountable to his shareholders. So that's why I don't trust the man, because that's why I like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, because they don't have shareholders. They don't have people to make money for. They just have a currency, and it's at a set amount. There's no making more. But if he has all the power and it's his company, I don't trust it. But what were we talking about? We were talking about him dumping the coin because he's trying it, right?
Yes, he's trying it out, testing the waters. Now no one can say anything.
Look, he tried it out. It looks like he just washes his hand, like I gave it a shot and everything, and then he gets rid of it. He has 1.5 billion worth. That's a lot. And you just dump it and then create his own because he says he can do it better.
Who knows? Like, imagine down the road we were actually right in this conversation, or somewhat right. I wouldn't put it past him, though. The guy's going to friggin' Mars, man. He could definitely create a cryptocurrency that's better than... But again, is he going to create one for the people, like he says Dogecoin is, or is he going to create one accountable to the shareholders?
I mean, at the end of the day, he's a businessman.
He is a businessman.
I think it's going to be... I think he has good intentions somewhat, but at the end of the day, it has to make sense to the shareholders. There's no way he's going to do it without making sense to people funding him.
I agree. I watched an interview of him the other day. It was super emotional. It was him crying. And it was about... he basically... And I never... It might be an old one, and you might be saying, Dave, you're old news, or this is old news here, but it was basically where he compared it to having a baby or a child. And I'm getting goosebumps here under my jacket, but the interviewer kind of said, well, what are the options, right? Like, you were going to fail. And he basically said, there is no option. I created a business. I have an idea. I created a corporation. I created a business. And I can't fail. Like, it's not, whether it kills me, I'm not going to fail. And then he said, let's say you have a child, you have a baby, and they're hungry. You're not just, they're hungry, but too bad, right? Like, you're going to feed the child. So that's what he said. I'm going to feed my business. I'm going to get what needs to be done, whether it kills me or not, like you would as a... So I was like, holy... And then he started crying, and I was like, holy smokes. So he is very passionate in what he does, but again, he's a business person and wants to make money as well.
That reminds me, I thought we were talking about the same video, or thinking of the same video, but I saw another one of him crying. Man's a crier, I guess, but he was being asked on an interview what he thinks about Neil Armstrong and other past astronauts, saying that they don't like...
Neil bashed him, eh?
Yeah, they're saying that they don't like the idea of privatized space, like people going to space for money. They thought it was really, like, it should be only publicly funded for the good of the world and the good of science and the good of mankind, rather than for funsies by the billionaire playboy who wants to go create a little colony on Mars for fun. And he cried, and...
But it was his idol before, right? Or something? Or one of his mentors or idols or something?
Because Elon Musk, like, I have a love-hate relationship with the guy. Because he's super funny on Twitter. Love that. And he seems to actually enjoy, like, his work. Like, he seems to actually care about creating electric cars for the good of people and colonizing Mars for the world. Like, these are things that we should be doing. This is awesome. And finally someone's doing it with private money. But still, I think it's great that he's doing it. But also, he's been known... I know you're going to hate this, but he's like a union buster.
Has he?
Yeah. People at his car plants in America have been talking about, like, unionizing, and he puts a kibosh on it. He tells them, like... He goes on the news and bashes it, and he says, like, there's no need for a union at Tesla. We don't need this. They don't want it. And people who worked at Tesla said, like, no, we want a union. Like, it would be nice if we had some accountability or whatever, but...
I haven't heard any of that, to be honest. I don't watch the news, though, but...
Yeah, so I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with Elon Musk. He seems like a cool guy. He seems like he'd be really fun to hang out with, but he's still only accountable to his shareholders at the end of the day.
Well, and that's the thing. Once you go public, right? Like, that's the... Anyway, that's a whole other show. And speaking, I know Jeff Bezos was going, Amazon was having the same thing. And I think there was a vote like this month or this week or last couple of weeks. That's the only union thing. I thought you were going to go down that rabbit hole, but... Another show will go down to union on the big companies. The other thing, Christian, and I know you have it in the notes here, and I'm sure you have more over there, but this is the thing I love. And I think even Robert Kiyosaki said something to this effect, because he's a gold guy, he's a gold nut, right? And gold bug or whatever you want to call it, and he loves his gold. But he does see the value in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And let's just talk about that. Let's just talk about how cryptocurrency is becoming the new go-to gold. That a lot of people are seeing this as because it can't be manipulated, because it can't be lobbied or it can't be influenced. It's mathematical equations that get mined, and no one can really change that type of thing. But now, the thing I like the most, and let's talk about it, Christian, and actually I want to talk about the mining process as well. Like, I think 70 or 80, the lion's share of the mining of Bitcoin is actually happening in China, right?
Is that a fact?
I saw something the other day.
I believe it. That makes sense.
Well, it makes total sense, right? That they're doing it in underground places. Like, there was like this mine, I saw this factory where this guy was doing it, he didn't want his location disclosed. But... that's a whole other scary scene, is if a country is mining, don't quote me on the amount, is it 70, is it 80, 90, it was a huge amount. It was definitely over 50. And, but if they're doing that, if one country controls X amount of the mining, is it still as, unbiased as it could be? So that worries me. that's something I want to talk about that could worry. Well, I don't know if we have much to talk about it, but it is scary. Like that could go down as something that could be manipulated, right? If all of a sudden one country is starting to really control the mining of the currency,
they can own the lion's share.
I know that.
And there's nothing because it's legal. There's no way.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Canada was on top of the world's largest gold mine. There was only like a little bit of gold everywhere else. We'd have the lion's share of the gold in the world. There's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
But it is scary to think that superpowers like China, maybe like Russia, even America, I wouldn't feel good any country having the lion's share of a currency.
No, I agree. It should be somehow divided. Or somehow I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. But when I saw that, I thought of you. Let's do some more research into it, maybe on one of the future shows. But that's something that could affect cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. But yeah, to go back to the gold aspect of it, and it's just so interesting that all these people are saying is the new go-to gold. And what I love about it is they're literally saying you can have all of your gold bars, which is cryptocurrency, in your phone. You don't need vaults anymore. You don't need physical locations to store it. You don't need to make sure that someone's going to steal it. I'm sure they could still steal it on your phone, but it's not something where you need a Fort Knox, for example, to keep all your gold and make sure that no one steals it. So it's very interesting how people are comparing it to gold and saying that it's even better for those types of reasons. I find it super interesting.
I think that's spot on. I mean, from what I know, obviously it's a finite resource like gold. You can only mine so much, and because it's finite, the price will only go up. It'll only increase in value over time. And go ahead.
No. I had a visual. No, keep going. I had a visual. Like if you want to keep going. I actually had a visual, and I think you made the joke the other day because you and I talk about it off air during work hours all the time. Is like, where am I going to go and just drive up and I'm sure I could, but in our city, where can I go and go? Hey, I want a brick of gold. I want a big brick of gold somewhere. Like, where am I going to go? Just on my lunch hour, go buy a big brick of gold. Like, it's probably not going to happen, right?
No.
Whereas on my lunch hour, I can literally go on my phone, buy as much or as little Bitcoin, cryptocurrency as I want. It's safe, it's easy, it's storable, it's
accessible.
Accessible, and they're considering it the exact same, if not better than a physical asset like gold. Like, it's just, why would you not invest in cryptocurrency as opposed to gold? Like, it just seems so easy.
And in retrospect, I know we're still early on, but this seems like the next logical step in world currency and finance and in general. Why would we want to keep investing in things like gold or even fiat currency when everything's moving online anyways? This seems like the next logical step where every coin can be tracked. We all know where every coin is because of a ledger and everything, and everyone's held. It's awesome. It's really good because no one can fake it. No one can screw with it, and I think it's the next logical step.
I do agree, but where logic. Sorry, I'm trying to say where logic comes in. Logic is already in with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but with everything, there's going to be those people out there. They're going to find the ways to get in. They're going to find the fraud cracks. They're going to find ways to manipulate the system. I wonder how the skepticism is going to be, because now it's the poster child, right? Now no one can hack it. Now no one can do anything. No one can manipulate it. But at some point, that might change, right? Like someone's going to find something somewhere, you would think, just like anything else in the world, right? So I don't know what's going to happen when it's supposed to be the impenetrable, perfect situation, the perfect storm, the perfect created cryptocurrency, something's going to happen at some point, right? It always does, doesn't it? Or do you have a different take on that?
I mean, yes and no. There's ways that you can take somebody else's cryptocurrency, but it's the ways that you'll already think of. You find their password, you guess it, you look, you find their keychain that holds their actual what do you call it, a blockchain. It holds all their information. Those are the ways that you can steal someone's Bitcoin right now. The thing is, the reason I like it is because with fiat currency, if you print a good enough bill, you now have a bill. So if you have a great printer at home that can print a $100 bill that's plastic with a little see-through stuff, you now have a $100 bill. There's no creating Bitcoin because it's logged everywhere. Everyone in the world knows where your Bitcoin came from. So if somehow you came up and took a bunch of money from someone else's account, or you created some Bitcoin out of nowhere. It wouldn't make sense. Everyone could tell that where this came from isn't legit, or whoever's using this account didn't actually make this kind of money.
Okay, I see where you're going.
But I also, the other thing is, it's been since 2009, and not once have I heard of anyone.
I know, I haven't heard. I don't feel like I've heard of anyone, but it hasn't been so mainstream. Have people really had the interest that they've had now? Like, and I know you're saying just because I kind of only came online to it in the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of like, this is a new thing to me. It just kind of came on the scene. I know you kind of said that this morning. It was funny. You're like, well, just because you weren't using it doesn't mean that the world wasn't using it. Because what is it, 100 million or 150 million now?
150 million what?
That are actually using it, Bitcoin, or that are actually invested in it.
I'm not sure the numbers, but the whole, like, the thing is, I would see what you're saying, but since it's only been an online thing, it's part of the internet, basically, right?
Yeah.
So people who would be privy to hacking and privy to taking people's stuff like that would have known about this probably when it first started, but at least when it first started gaining traction, like 2014, when other cryptocurrencies started coming around, that's when they probably would have got started on trying to hack it. If it hasn't happened yet, like, I don't want to, I'll probably kick myself for saying this. I'll probably, yeah.
Take note of this date.
I'm putting a foot in my own mouth.
This is why I don't do predictions.
Yeah.
Kristen's about to do one.
Yeah, I'm making a prediction that if it hasn't happened yet in a super serious way, from the very beginning in 2009 till now, then I think it's a pretty good system. I think that it might be very difficult to try to fake this kind of stuff. And I don't think, it's pretty big to say. It's pretty, but I don't think you can. I think it's pretty safe, right?
Wow. That is a big prediction, Christian.
But it's only existed online. Everyone who would have known to hack it probably has tried and has failed. I've never seen anyone say, like, oh, someone stole, 50 million Bitcoins from me. It would be like, I sent this person Bitcoin by accident, or I locked myself out of the account and now no one can get into it and I've lost so much money. But no one's ever been, someone got into my account without me giving them the password, took all my stuff, or someone created a bunch of this currency. I've never seen that.
No. And something I want to touch on is one of the things I was reading. I think gold is it 10 trillion, and maybe Bitcoin's at 1 trillion, something to that effect. And I might be off on my numbers, but they are predicting that it's going to surpass gold, obviously, right, by a lot. And then the other thing as well is right now they're at 100 million or 150 million. There's 7 point something billion people in the world. If there's only 100 or 150 million using it right now, like if you really look back at the macro, like, we're in such an infancy stage of Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible. Because people will think, like my family, they see me doing my videos and they'll say, should I invest in Bitcoin or is it too late? And it's like, well, there's always going to be a bear market. There's always going to be a bull market, bull cycle, bear cycle. And you could say the same thing to people, right? That Tesla, when before there was offerings and all that, before they went public, like, you could have bought in and now they think, oh, it's over. And then 2 years down the road, oh, it's over. Well, it's never over, right? There's always more room to grow. So that's the thing with Bitcoin as well. So, and where I'm getting at is all those people that think, oh, it's too late, I should have bought last year, I should have bought in 2020, or now it's already, it was, well, we're talking about the Canadian one, like you said. I think I bought some at 58,000 on the weekend, and now it's up to 64, and people that would think, oh, it's at 64 now, well, I missed out because it's no longer 58. There's only 100, or I wish I knew the stat off the top of my head. There's only 150. Let's even worst case. Let's even if it is only 100, we're saying 150 out of 7 billion.
Yes.
So like, we're so early to the game. There's so much room to grow. We're in like the early innings of this actual chapter, of this actual baseball game here. Like, it's insane how early we are. Now, why am I talking about this? I just want to pump people up. If you're not invested in Bitcoin yet, and I'm a real estate guy, okay? I love real estate. And I still think real estate is far better because it houses people. People always need a place to live, right? Now, that being said, I'm not saying you have to be completely sheltered off from real estate or from anything else. Any extra money that I have, I'm putting into Bitcoin now, while still using other people's money to do real estate. But I just don't want you to think you've missed out, because there's still a huge increase that's going to happen. Like, imagine when we hit the 1 billion mark. Even then, there's still another 6 billion that aren't using it.
Yeah, and actually, I love this because I was on Reddit earlier this week where a lot of these people congregate, and
Yeah.
someone made a post saying, guys, it doesn't matter if it's crashing right now. It's barely being talked about even right now. There's only 100 million, 150 million people using it, and this isn't just located in one country. It's trying to be a world currency. They want everyone to use it. They want to get rid of fiat currency. So if you buy now, if you buy like half a Bitcoin, it'll only go up. Don't worry about it going down by like $3,000-$4,000 in a day. It's volatile. It's new, but it's only being talked about on like financial news.
Mm-hmm.
It's only being talked about on the business section of the 6 o'clock news. It hasn't yet become fully mainstream where it's being talked about everywhere. We're still very early. We're very early adopters.
Yeah, and I know it's crazy. We're gonna look back at the show in 6 months and go, we should have bought more, right? We should have bought a lot more then. But that's hindsight's 2020 with anything. Every morning I'll go, hey Google, what's the news? And Google Home will play me what's going on in the world. And I remember something he said. There's only a few, and he was talking about American news at one point, and in the Senate or in the House of I forget what it's called exactly, but there's only a few that are actual cryptocurrency people, right? So imagine down the road when politicians are starting to buy in, the Canadian government starts to buy in. We've talked about it. They're going to create their own. That's no doubt. They're going to want to control. Government's always going to want to control currency in their country anyway. But it's just such an exciting time in Bitcoin. But I'm trying to think. I know we want to touch on the gold thing, which we did. I want to wrap up the show with you guys today and just kind of recap on everything we talked about, Christian, just from the fact that we were just saying that there's only 100 or 150 million people out of the 7 bill, and that's a worldwide, right? Like that's not like it's Canada and the States and North America wide. That's worldwide that they're trying. That's such low numbers in comparison to the world population. Like Christian was even saying, what was it? Not Ripple. What was the other one? Stellar. I love the fact that Stellar's trying to reach out so that people in other countries. So that's only going to bring in the popularity of cryptocurrency. So that's going to snowball effect cryptocurrency in other countries as well.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling. I guess I'm biased because I keep looking out for it, but I'm feeling really good about that investment just because like. You used to only see Bitcoin mentioned in cryptocurrency articles, right?
Yes.
Like for the past year, like years and years, no one. You maybe hear Ethereum, sometimes Litecoin, a little bit of Dogecoin if it's like funny,
Yep.
but Bitcoin was the big player. But now I'm starting to see a lot of articles talking about XLM, which is Stellar, and that's getting me really excited because it's really low right now. It's under a dollar to buy one Stellar Lumen. Anyways, so I think this is going to be like a big thing. I think like it's starting to gain traction. A lot of people are talking about it on like the cryptocurrency websites and everything, and people are saying this is one of the top 10 coins you need to buy in 2021. And because of their mission statement, I know it doesn't mean much, but I think like if they're trying to, because I don't know of any other cryptocurrency that's actively trying to reach out to developing countries and helping countries create their own.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in this one.
Okay, and I know we're trying to wrap up the show right now, but okay, think about brand loyalty. Think about those countries that if what do you call it again? What was the cryptocurrency? Stellar? If Stellar is the first to market there, and that's the one like Bitcoin with me, I thought Bitcoin was like I thought cryptocurrency, that's like you know how you say print something off the cannon. You know, or the can, but like no, it's actually a printer, right? Mm-hmm. Where Bitcoin it's a type of cryptocurrency. It's not crypto, like you know what I mean? How it becomes synonymous with a certain.
It's the Kleenex of.
Yeah. Pass me a tissue. Well, pass me a Kleenex. Well, that's what I thought Bitcoin was. But what I'm saying is these countries, if Stellar becomes that Kleenex, that Canon, that Sea-Doo, that Ski-Doo, where no, it's actually a cryptocurrency, not Stellar. But if it becomes that because it's first to market there. That could be huge for that. You've got me interested now in this. What do you call it? Stellar?
Stellar Lumens.
Stellar Lumens. There you go.
I know. It just sounds a little alien, but I don't know. I got faith, and I'm starting to see more of it. So I got my fingers crossed that I'll make a couple bucks.
Well, you know what? I might I might invest in some of that too. Now that you got me curious, I'm gonna go do some research on it. Cool. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Christian. That's why I like having you on the show, so we can talk about different things like that. So it's not just Bitcoin. And how does this affect you as a real estate investor, right? Again, like I was mentioning, real estate is still my go-to. It's my baby. I love it. But knowing that fiat money is becoming a thing of the past, or it's going to the wayside. Knowing that, you still need to have something other than real estate, right? Real estate, a staple, it's a solid asset. The market rides up and down, but if you buy and hold real estate now, 30 years from now, you're still going to look like a genius because people will always need a place to live. Now, that being said, if you have money, one of the choices, if you're not going to put in real estate or if you don't have a deal right now, my suggestion is putting it into cryptocurrency. Whatever, if it's one of the ones that Christian mentioned, if it's Bitcoin, whatever you've done your research on, I still think it's better than fiat money. And don't take my word for it. Elon Musk, these CEOs of these millions and billion-dollar companies are doing the same thing. So just educate yourself and just know that Robert Kiyosaki says it best, cash is trash, right? So look at real estate, look at cryptocurrency, educate yourself and kind of spread out your, diversify your assets in these solid asset classes. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified, and we go live as well once a week. So you'll get notified when we go live. You can actually ask us questions in the Q&A. And if you want to watch another Dave show, just make sure to click right here.